Okay, there's the next section of the slat ready to be fitted down into the other side. We'll set it down into the other side of the slat, drill and cleco and fit the trailing edge on it, and deburr and rivet it, and we're ready to go. Alright, we flipped our jig over. We got the first slat back in the jig. Next thing to do is drill and cleco the lower edge, which will actually be covered by the trailing edge. I've already drawn my center line down the center of the rivet line, and it's drilled for A4s on a pitch 40. So that's already all laid out, ready to drill. And to lock it into place, we do one of these. And the way your slats lay out in your particular jig are going to be kind of up to you. I think that's open to interpretation. The first one that I set up in here tends to pull down a little bit. You don't want it to drop down into the jig. You want this rail to support the trailing edge, or the top of the trailing edge. So you just want to clamp it down with even pressure. And I think it's not really important as long as it sets down into the jig and you're consistent with all four slats. I think that's all that's really going to be important. That looks really good to me. So now I'm just going to go along, drill and cleco that whole row, and then we'll be done with that section of it. Then it's pretty well locked in that it can't go anyplace else. Then we just have to fit the trailing edge, and once you've drilled and clecoed the bottom strip there, you have to take it back out of the jig, move your clecos to the other side, and then it will go back into the jig so you can put the trailing edge on. Trailing edges are laid out the same way as the rest of them. They're A4 pitch 40s. And of course I just run an edge marker down to run center lines. I'll go ahead and lay out the A40 rivet lines, or the 40 spacing on those, and we'll get the first one drilled and clecoed in place. Alright, we've got trailing edge laid out. I did actually pre-drill this trailing edge just because it will be a little bit nicer that way. So it's pre-drilled. I've got it clamped in place. I'll go ahead and cleco at least part of the trailing edge, and then I'll go back and drill the front edge of that. That'll make it a little more level. That makes sure that my trailing edge is straight. And where this row of rivets lines up, there again, as long as it's consistent between your slats and everything is in a straight line, it's not going to matter. So we'll make sure our trailing edge is lined up first here, and then we'll go back and drill and cleco this, and that way it'll fall into line. It'll be where it should be. All right, here's an assembled flap assembly, or a slat assembly. It's all clecoed, proper size holes. There will be soft rivets along the trailing edge. Everything else is A4 on these. And now all that's left is to disassemble it, deburr it, add some primer to it, corrosion protection, and then we'll rivet it together. So this will be the first one done. We are deburred, primed, and all clecoed back together. And all we have to do is rivet it up. The slat is all riveted together with the exception of the trailing edge. Those rivets are soft rivets that get squeezed in, and we will do that. I've got to finish up the other three, but right now I think we'll go ahead and set up the squeezer and we'll do the trailing edge on this. Alright, trailing edge is squoze with AN 470A-3s. So we're just going along and kind of evenly spacing where we start them out. They tend to squeeze a little bit better, and you've got less wave in your trailing edges if you can kind of jump around, just evenly squeeze them. With these little ones, it's not quite so bad, but you get a little bit bigger rivet, and if you start at one end, why, it'll stretch your material and work it a little bit more. I like to back them up and kind of give a little extra, get the panels together a little bit tighter with these little clamps. But once you get the dies set and the squeezer set, it's real easy. They go real quick. You just run along and squeeze them in. Well, we finished riveting the trailing edge, and I'm very happy with it. Let's see if we can get it up there. I haven't done anything. By jumping around, we get a real nice straight edge down there. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. I can't really tell. But we've got a pretty nice rivet line. We've got nice shop heads on the back side, or the bottom. Well, yeah, it would be the back side. I was going to say the bottom side, but it would be the back side. And I consider this slat done.